Hello, fellow Liberians. This is Legal Talk with Atty Franklin, and I'm your host, Atty Franklin. And on this channel, I'll be taking you guys on a journey to explore the Liberian legal landscape. We'll be discussing several different legal topics, and I hope you guys will get informed, build you guys' capacity, and the legal knowledge and education I have to share will reach each one of you guys in the right way. So, this legal journey will take us from the onset on a spicy trip I will call debunking legal myths, which simply means breaking down all the legal myths or the legal misconceptions we have on various legal topics in our country. So the first one we're going to deal with is something I've heard a lot about when I was working in the field in different organizations, and people usually say, and this is mainly men, people like me. So the Liberian men usually say, "Don't mind her, let us stay on my child. On my child 10-7, I'll just come for my child. I ain't even running behind, I'm rushing her. On my child 10-7, I'll come for my child. Okay, when my child turns 7, I'll come for my child." I'm sure maybe you guys have heard that before in the street, or from your uncle, or from your cousin, or from your friend, or anybody. Now, the first question I have is, where does it come from? There's no law in Liberia that speaks to when the child turns 7, then the father can come and get the child. I believe maybe it came from the fact that people believe that when the child is 7, he's big enough, so his father can take care of him, because if he's a baby, maybe the father cannot take care of baby. It's better for babies to be with the mother, etc., etc., etc. I mean, that's what I believe. But again, that's a myth. That's a total legal misconception. It's not true, because the law doesn't speak about that. So that issue of the child will stay with me, when the child turns 7, I will go for my child, is called in law child custody. And child custody happens most often when there's divorce, meaning when married people, or even boyfriend and girlfriend, part. And when they part, we need to decide, or we need to know who the child is going to live with. That's just what child custody means. Okay, now that you guys are not together, who is going to live with the child? Because if you guys are together, of course the child is living with you guys, so there's no problem with that. But once you guys are not together, your part, who the child is going to be with, who the child is going to stay with. Now, when we've taken that into consideration, let's not forget that whenever there's an issue regarding the well-being, meaning what good for the child, the court, like the rebel place, always have elements they take into consideration to decide where the child will live. And those elements are only elements that will make the child to live good. So some of the elements will be in which house the child will stay, how is the house, how the mother or the father can take care of the child, the child's school fees, the child clothing, the child health, the child's school. Everything that is good for the child, that's what they can take into consideration. And I like to take this example of, for instance, when you're looking for a house. Let's say you're working Congo Town, and you were first assigned out of town. Let's say you're working Bon County, Banga before, then they assign you in Morovia, and your working place in Congo Town. When you're looking for your working place, you'll be like, okay, my working place Congo Town. If I go live Carwell or I live Proville, it will be hard for me to come to work to Congo Town. Maybe I'll come late. So I think it will be good for me to find places that are not far from Congo Town. Let's say Cinco, I can live maybe ERWA Junction, Congo Town back row. You'll be looking for places that are right near your working place. Then you'll say, okay, but a woman, let's say you are a woman, or if you are a man, okay, but now I need to also look for places that get security, or for places that get running water, or for place where they get LEC. Those are all things you are looking for, because those are things you need to live better and to be closer to your working place. Those are the same kind of elements that could take into consideration for the well-being of the child. What is in the best interest of the child is what the code takes into consideration. So I spoke about housing, good health, treatment, the person who has time for the child. So in this case, for instance, let's say Hawa, because let's say that two young people, Hawa dating James, and now they part, or they were married and they decide to divorce. If they come towards the court to say, okay, we want you to help us decide who the child will stay with, because we can't decide more ourselves. Because let's not forget, if the two of you decide, say, okay, and the man will stay with the child, the partner get pregnant, The code doesn't come when there's no issue. The code comes when there's actually an issue. So if you guys were good and there has never been an issue around, the code will not come in. So if you guys have an issue in deciding who the child will stay with, that's when you guys go to the court. And that's not to any court. You don't go to the magisterial court. You don't go to, you go to the probate court. That's a court of record. I mean, it looks like a big word, but that's just a probate court. And for counties or regions where we don't have probate court, you have the court where the probate court is actually sitting, which we call the circuit court. We'll find another day to discuss the different courts we have in our country. So you're going to the probate division of the circuit court, and that's where you will sit to discuss your issue of custody. So now when you will come now, that's where the judges or the judge or the people in charge of the case will ask you questions. Questions like, okay, the man, you say you want to be with the child, the woman say you want to be the child. Okay. The man, where you working? The woman, where you working? Okay. I want you can come out from work. I want you can come out from work. I want you can leave from work. How much you making per month? How old is the child? Yeah. In which community you living? Those are the questions they will be asking you. And these questions rarely has to do with the age of the child. Let me put in before you guys. So that issue of 7 years never comes across. Rarely. It's true if the child is a baby, they will have much more consideration. Say, but the child is 1 month old, 3 weeks old, 2 weeks old, 2 months old. The child is still baby. But let's say the man has Zogo. Your team, because of the man, if the man has Zogo, the court will say, okay, no, let the child go and stay with the Zogo man. No, because it's not only about the age, it's about the well-being and the best interest of the child. So when they ask all those questions, let's say the father, I mean, I can drink the whole day, he can sleep all, he ain't doing no career work for himself, they'll never allow him to take the child. Same thing for the mother. The woman, the man, she just sleeping around. She ain't get no correct place to sleep. The whole day she doing funny thing. The court will never allow her to have custody of the child. So they always look for the best interest of the child. You can be living, somewhere in West Point. I mean, not to cost West Point, but you can be living somewhere that's not going West Point, Then the pa living on 3rd Street, single in one good apartment. He's a responsible man. Even if the child is 1 month old, they will prefer to send the child to the man because they say, okay, the man doing a good work, he's living in a good condition. He can even find a nurse or someone to take care of the child while he's absent, so he's responsible. So it's better for us to give the child to the man. Same thing with the woman, So it's not an issue of age, it's an issue of best interest for the child. We should keep that in mind. Nothing to do with age. I want us to keep that in mind. So that's a total legal misconception. That stuff, I don't know where it came from. I mean, that's why I'm here, to clarify on some of these things. So it doesn't work that way. Child custody, the focus is on the best interest. So what I want us to take note as we get close to end the video is this. Child custody happens when people part. Be it people who are just in a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship, or people who are married. So divorce or simple breakup. It has nothing to do with age. It's always the best interest of the child that is put forward and not the age of the child. Whenever you have an issue of child custody, the court that has to deal with child custody is the probate court. If there's no probate court where you are, then you go to the circuit court at the probate division or the court sitting in probate. So that's where you can deal with your child custody claim. That's what I want us to keep in mind. So this was just our first topic in this our very long journey, which I hope will be very exciting and very educational for each one of us. So on to our next topic. Be smart, be bold, and always remember, ignorance of the law, not on this channel. We don't ignore the law here. And here we learn the law, and we get better. So follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and every other social media page with the same name Legal Talk with Atty Franklin Waji. If you have any question, put it in the comment section and I will read it, and maybe I can even provide you with a dedicated video on the comment you made to answer to that and to better equip you on the law. Let's not forget, this is not legal advice, it's legal education. If you have a case that is similar to that but you need special legal advice, find a lawyer. Thank you.